The Passover, sacrificial lamb. Remember, the Bethlehem lambs were the sacrificial lambs used in the temple sacrifices. Exodus 12:5 and 6. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. The Passover sacrificial lamb was taken from amongst the sheep on the first day of the month. Christ's birth also coincided with the raising of the tabernacle. Exodus 19:1. In the third month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. In the third month after Nisan would be June. This is when the children of Israel went to Mount Sinai with Moses to receive the Torah. The Easton's Bible Dictionary says Sivan is used after the captivity as the name of the third month of the Jewish year, extending from the new moon in June to the new moon in July. From Exodus 25-31, Moses received the instructions on building the tabernacle. Exodus 26:1. Moreover, thou shalt make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work shalt thou make them. Upon leaving Sinai in the month of Sivan, June, they began building the tabernacle. Note, June is the same time Mary visited Elizabeth. Exodus 40:1-2. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, On the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. Remember, the first day of the first month is Abib or Nisan 1, the new year. In the month of Sivan, June, 9 months earlier, they began building the tabernacle, coinciding with the month Mary visited Elizabeth. Therefore, from conception to birth of the tabernacle, it coincides with the conception and birth of Christ. If you notice the pattern of significance, all of these events coincide with Hebrew holy days. Genesis 22:1-2. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. So Abraham took Isaac to the mountain and laid him out as an offering. Genesis 22:11-12. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Lay not thine hand on the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thy only son, from me. But remember, Isaiah 55:11, So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, it shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Genesis 22:13. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. Genesis 22:15-16. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of the heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son. Now remember, Abraham had another son, Ishmael, but Yah kept referring to Isaac as his only son. Why? Romans 9:7 tells us, Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Genesis 21:12. And God said unto Abraham, Let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah hath said unto thee. Hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So if Abib Nisan 1 is the first day of the ecclesiastical year, why would the Passover take place on the 14th day of Nisan? Let's look at the Talmud. Tractate Rosh Hashanah 11a. It was taught in the Bereta on Passover Isaac was born. The Gemara asks, from where do we derive this? As it is written that the angel who informed Sarah that she would bear a son told Abraham, at the appointed time I will return to you. At this season and Sarah shall have a son. Genesis 17:21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. Genesis 18:14. Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. According to the time of life. That's very important. The first Passover in the wilderness after leaving Egypt, Yah said in Numbers 9:2, let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed time. Romans 9:9 says, for this is the word of promise, at this time will I come and Sarah shall have a son. So the 14th day of Nisan was the Passover because it was the promised appointed time of the miracle of Isaac's birth and a stay of Isaac's sacrifice. Isaac was replaced by the mysterious ram in the bush. That is why this time is so important. It's a time of life because it's the spring, the time of new life. That's why it's important to keep the Passover at its appointed time. Now, let's follow the ram. Genesis 31:4-12. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto the flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that is not towards me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. And you know that with all my power I have served your father, and your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered him not to hurt me. And if he said, thus the speckled shall be thy wages, all the cattle bear speckle. If he said, thus the ringstraight shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ringstraight. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass at that time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ringstraight, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up now thy eyes and see. All the rams which leap upon the cattle are ringstraight, speckled, and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban doeth unto you. When Yah instructed Moses and Aaron and the Levites on building the tabernacle, he told Moses in Exodus 26:14, And thou shalt make a covering for the tent of ram skin dyed red, and a covering above badger skin. Exodus 29:1 through 4. And this is the thing that thou shalt do unto them, to hallow them, to minister unto me in the priest's office. Take 1 young bullock and 2 rams without blemish, and unleavened bread and cakes and unleavened, tempered with oil, and wafers unleavened, anointed with oil of wheaten flour shalt thou make them. And thou shalt put them into 1 basket, and bring them in the basket with the bullock and the 2 rams. And Aaron and his sons thou shalt bring unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shalt wash them with water. Leviticus 5:17-18. And if a soul sin and committeth any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of the Lord, though he wist it not, he is guilty, and shall bear his iniquity. And he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock with this estimation for a trespass offering unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his ignorance, wherein he erred, wist it not, and it shall be forgiven him. Rams are male bighorn sheep. What do we eat at Passover? Lambs, baby sheep. When Aaron and his sons brought the rams to the tabernacle, they washed them with water, i.e., baptizing them, in keeping with the statutes at the appointed time. That's obedience. The sheep, which is Israel, would be covered even in ignorance by the sacrifice of the ram. Psalms 114, 1 through 4. When Israel went out of Egypt, the house of Jacob from a people of strange language, Judah was his sanctuary, and Israel his dominion. The sea saw it and fled. Jordan was driven back. The mountains skipped like rams and little hills like lambs. So why would I point all of this out? We all know that Christ is the Lamb of Yah. But let's go back to the beginning. Abraham took Isaac to the mountain as an offering, but Isaac was replaced by a mysterious ram in the bush. But still, no word shall return to Yah void. Mount Calvary was where Christ was crucified, but it's actually a hill. Hence, the mountains skipped like rams and the little hills like lambs. The Aramaic name of Calvary is Golgotha. The Eastern Bible Dictionary says it's the common name of the spot where Jesus was sacrificed. It is interpreted by the evangelists as meaning the place of skull. This name represents in Greek letters the Aramaic word Golgotha, which in Hebrew and is the Hebrew Golgoth, meaning a skull. It is the identical word with is identical with the word Calvary. It is a little knoll rounded like a bear's skull. Luke 23 and 33. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him and the malefactors, one on the right and the one on the left. Christ was that ram in the bush that replaced Isaac on the mount. Daniel 8, 2 through 4. And I saw a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. John 8:56. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. Genesis 22 and 14. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah-Jireh, as it said, to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. Listen to that. Someday in the mount of the Lord, the sacrifice shall be seen. Remember, an only son still had to be sacrificed. Abraham went to the place that God told him to go. Not just any random mountain, but an appointed mountain. And then on the third day lifted up his eyes and saw the place far off. Isaac was prepared to be sacrificed at Mount Moriah, at the same place Solomon built the temple. 2 Chronicles 3 and 1. Then Solomon began to build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem in Mount Moriah, where the Lord appeared unto David his father, in the place that David had prepared in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Christ became that Passover lamb that fulfilled Isaac's sacrifice on the mount on the anniversary of Isaac's birth. Like Isaac, Christ carried the wood upon which he would be offered and was fastened to it, blameless. Calvary, which is Golgotha, is located just outside of the walls of Jerusalem, less than a half a mile from the spot that King Solomon built the first temple. According to Jewish tradition, Solomon built the temple on the Mount Moriah, commemorating the spot where Abraham stretched out Isaac upon the altar of sacrifice. Keep in mind, a sacrifice of an only son still needed to be fulfilled. Mount Moriah, the Temple of Solomon, the place of Isaac's potential sacrifice, and Golgotha are all the same place. They all mark the place where the Lamb of Yah, the Ram of Yah, was sacrificed as a sin offering for reconciliation with our Creator. Someday in the mount of the Lord, the sacrifice shall be seen.